Our world is worth fighting for.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's Pachosaurus. This is Overwatch, and we're playing as Mei. Mei is Bae. Before playing Overwatch, Mei was one of those characters that I felt I would find to be cute, but I would never want to play with her. This is mainly because of her ice wall. Because in any game, I'm not a fan of any form of wall creation. Firewalls, ice walls, rock walls, I don't know why, but it never felt appealing to me and I wouldn't know the first thing on how to use them. To me, having ice walls like these are highly strategic, involving placing and positioning, which is probably why it was such a turnoff for me, because a wrongly placed ice wall could ruin everything. And this is exactly why I'm making this guide. Mei is such a lovable character, and I understand why people will come to like her. But if you take a look at her difficulty level, she's a 3-star difficulty hero, which means she is hard to use. When I first used her, I never found out her to be that difficult until I recently came across a terrible Mei player, and it then occurred to me that why she was given a difficulty level of 3, and it's because Mei's Ice Wall is very crucial. It has so much potential and so many uses. So I've come across Mei players who hardly use the Ice Wall, which defeats the purpose of having a Mei on your team. And I've come across Mei players who want to use her Ice Wall but are terrible at decision making. So let's get this out of the way and just say it. Mei's gameplay is a very strategic one. If strategy in real-time combat doesn't come naturally to you, you will have a hard time using her and probably get a few rages from your teammates. So getting that out of the way, let's start with her abilities. She's got a freeze gun. That's so cool. A freeze gun. And obviously a freeze gun can slow or freeze people when you left. So her left click allows you to freeze people and to slow people, and it can create ice shards if you hold right click. Now take note, I said slow and freeze on left click. This is important because when it comes down to going against multiple enemies, there are several approaches to dealing with them, which we'll talk about later on. Her right click is also great for long range sniping, although it's a little bit hard to land due to its delay, but time it right and she can do lots of damage, and she can even, out snipe a Widowmaker. She has an ice wall that can be used in a plethora of ways, and she can also freeze herself, making her invulnerable to damage and gain a bit of health while she is frozen. I believe it's called cryostasis, cryogenesis. Can we get a doctor, a scientist over here? Both of these skills can be cancelled to suit your needs, so you don't have to wait for either of them to end. If you think you should unfreeze yourself or break down your wall for any strategic reason, then do it. If you're alone and against multiple enemies, freezing one and then isolating the others with an ice wall is a very good strategy. It allows you to kill one, then deal with the others later on, which would be better than taking all of them all at once. However, there will be scenarios where you will have a teammate by your side, and this changes everything. Mei's gun can freeze and slow, making Mei a great crowd controlling monster. Remember what I said earlier, that we would talk about this freeze and slow thing? Well, here it is. If you're in the situation where there are multiple enemies and all you have is a friend with you, you can easily change the situation to your advantage by freezing one and letting your friend kill it while you isolate the enemy, and probably it's probably the farthest one, so you should set up an ice wall or something and start slowing or start freezing, whichever term you fancy, but slowing is a better term because I don't think you'll be able to freeze the person in time. By the time you freeze the next guy, the first guy you froze should be dead, this is just one example over the many more ways you can apply Mei's abilities, and the only thing stopping you from being a complete monster in battle is your imagination. Mei, above all the other heroes, is all about getting creative with her abilities, as so are the other heroes, but Mei the most. Can I just say that I feel sorry for this Mercy? I killed her more than any of the other heroes during this match, and it's hilarious. Now, in this scene, there's a sniper somewhere, and normally I would cast an ice ball right in front of the sniper, cock blocking purpose in the game. However, I didn't because I didn't think she was much of a threat. You'll also see me save myself from a few close calls by freezing myself, and you need to be mindful of your health if you want to use that skill effectively, because boy, it can save a lot, and it can put your enemy team off guard, which I'll talk about later a little bit on. Now, Junkrat is kind of a counter to Mei, since you can't really get close to him due to his mines and traps. Plus, his grenades are a bit hard to predict, so I guess the best way to go about it is to block his grenades with an ice wall or try sniping him with your right click, but I choose to avoid him entirely if I can. And yeah, that ultimate I threw out was out of panic. By the way, if you haven't noticed yet, I like how Mei's freeze gun shows you if you're running low on juice. See that little vial on her gun? It has an indicator of how much juice she's got left. Just a little, thing. Another strategy that I like to use, I cast Blizzard, then freeze myself instead of using an ice wall. Why do I do this? Because when people see you frozen, they think that you're vulnerable in this state because you're stuck there and they can easily gangbang you. But if you use it this way, they're just giving you what you want, which is to stand in the middle of your blizzard. This right here is one of the most many uses for Mei's Icefall. I see the 76 use his aimbot, and I cast a wall to make him feel like an idiot for using it, and then I kill him by paying the ultimate price for standing around waiting for the ice wall to come down. And I think he was even hitting the ice wall, hoping to break it himself. What a silly you. Then I drop down for a quick HP regen and cast Blizzard, and then an Ice Wall. I did this because it takes time to freeze things. So cast an Ice Wall gives me cover while I wait for them to freeze, and then go in straight for the kill. Now, this is me versus a lot of enemies, and I know I won't be able to take them on all at once, so I break off with a defensive ice wall and back off to hide a bit. I did think of getting greedy by killing the Mercy again, but I saw the Reaper coming at me, so I pulled out of there. But luckily my teammates were able to assist with some kills, landing me 2 more kills. So I make a comeback and get back into the fight right here. I was supposed to go for the Roadhog, then I remembered my Heroes of the Storm training and decided to go for the Mercy. This is what people tend to forget when they play Overwatch. It's still a MOBA, it's a team game, and just like in any other MOBA, killing the support or the soft damage dealers is very vital in team fights. You almost always want to kill the tanks last, unless you have absolutely no choice but to kill them. Ice Wall can be used to create choke points, cock blocks, some ultimates, and create more choke points, escape from Junkrat's trap, and even reach high places to displace snipers. So overall, Mei is pretty much useful in any given situation. But there's a catch. You have to be able to be creative enough to use her effectively in any of those situations, which means that you have to be able to think strategically, tactically, and you have to be able to coordinate properly with your teammates because, of course, it's a team game. You work best as a team. This has been a guide and some tips for Mei, because Mei is Mei, and she is awesome. So I hope you guys learned a few things, and if you liked the video, please do like the video, leave down your comments in the comment section if you have more tips that I may not have placed in here, but you think will be useful for other players. And please do subscribe. So I'll see you guys next time. See you there.
Ramdam na ramdam nila yung presence mo.